Another month, another comic haul. Let's see what I got this time. Hey everyone, it's vmcampos, comic book fan. I've got another comic haul for you. Starting things off, we've got Catwoman and Tweety and Sylvester #1 from DC Comics. So this is one of the mashups that DC Comics has been doing recently. Here we've got Catwoman and Tweety and Sylvester. So weird, but it's pretty fun. It's got a very cartoony cover. The art inside's a little bit more realistic. Basically, Sylvester teams up with Catwoman, and Tweety teams up with Black Canary, and they fight, shenanigans ensue, and all of the bird characters of the DC Universe versus all the cat characters of the DC Universe. It's fun. Speaking of fun, then I've also got the Joker and Daffy Duck #1, another part of the DC and Looney Tunes mashup. This is one of the covers. I like this cover better than the other one. Daffy looked way too weird in that other cover, but here we've got the Joker, we've got Daffy, they're in the insane asylum together. I haven't read this one, so I'm not quite sure what it's about, but I can't wait to do so. Looks like a pretty weird combination. That kind of makes sense. Sandman Universe #1. So this is by Neil Gaiman, Simon Spurrier, Nailo Hopkinson, etc. It's I think it's an anthology series. I haven't read it yet, and it's starting off a new Sandman book, so I thought I'd jump on the bandwagon on issue #1 and see how it goes for mature readers. God damn it. Here's another book I decided to get in on the ground floor. I don't quite know anything about it. I just heard some good buzz. This is Beyonders #1 from Aftershock, Paul Jenkins and Wesley St. Clair. So I don't know much about it, but I see a little like corgi dog there with an eye patch. So, and an Egyptian tomb. So I'm sold. Here's a book I'm reading regularly. It's Modern Fantasy #3. This is from Dark Horse Comics with Rafer Roberts and Kristen Goodsnuck. This is a hilarious book about people just trying to make it in life. It happens to be in a fantastical swords and sorceries type of world mixed in with the mundane aspect of it. So it's a fantasy world plus the modern world. And it's just a fun book. Here's another fun book, Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons from Oni/Adult Swim/IDW. So I don't know how the licensing is happening over here. So Dungeons and Dragons is owned by Wizards of the Coast. They do Magic the Gathering. Ultimately, they're owned by Hasbro. And then we've got Rick and Morty, which is from Adult Swim, but why is IDW in the mix? Anyway, so we've got here Rothfuss, Zub, Little, and Ito. I got one of the variant covers. I love this cover. It's so like watercolor painted. It's Rick versus one of these Dungeons and Dragons critters. Really epic. Really enjoyable. Look at that. He's got little goat eyes or something. So this is #1. I also got #2. This is the regular cover, I believe, and whereas Rick and Morty debut on the first issue in a Dungeons and Dragons world, now it's Beth and Summer doing it too. Beth is really into her barbarian side. Again, I'm loving these DC Comics like full like virgin cover treatments. Here is Batwoman #18 by Bennett, Blando, and Rauch. And it's just a beautiful stark black, white, and red cover. This is by Cho, I believe. But now that I look at it, I think I got one that is not in pristine condition. I should have noticed that. I wonder if I can still switch it, because that is not a CGC 9.8. But great cover nonetheless. Look at her red hair coming through. Nice. Another beautiful and stark cover is Batman Beyond number 24. Look at that. Look at that, how it's black, white, and red. The red accent on the bat symbol, but everything else black and white. And then just the rain and Batman Beyond's powerful pose. Very, very cool. Another book I'm reading regularly is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. This one's hilarious. It's the hostess with the mostess, and this is number 2, so I picked up number 1 last month. It's Elvira traveling through time, meeting various horror icons. It's drawn very well. Internal art is different than this. It's drawn very well, and it's funny. So I got the regular cover. There were a bunch of them. I wanted the photo cover, but I didn't want to pay $30 for it. I got the photo cover for issue 1, but for the photo cover of issue 2, it was a little too expensive. So I got the regular old cover. This is by Joseph Michael Linsner, and it features Elvira drawn very robustly. Beast of Burden is a book that I started to read. This is number 2. This is by Evan Dorkin, Benjamin Dewey, and Nate Picos. Beasts of Burden, Wise Dogs, and Eldritch Men is the latest series in the Beasts of Burden series, and it's basically about dogs with superpowers, telekinetic powers and such, defending the town of Burden Hill from all manner of monsters and supernatural stuff. It's very good. This is cover number 2, not by the regular artist, but very nice cover. Look at those little puppos in the cemetery. Next, another comic that I've got on the Reg A Natural. This is issue number 3 by Mirka Andolfo. She does the art, the color, the story, everything. This is from Image Comics. So basically, what if the totalitarian government you live in is the sole decider of who you can love, marry, and procreate with? Anything else is unnatural. This is like one of the few furry comics that's being published in the mainstream press at the moment. It is a mature book, lots of nudity and adult themes, but the art is extremely cute. Very, very good art. Do not adjust your screen. This is the correct orientation. This is Tank Girl All-Stars, number 3, cover A by Brett Parson. This is an anthology book, and at the moment we've got Martin, Parson, and Mahfood contributing art and stories. And if you look at it right side up, it's Tank Girl and she's upside down. Beautiful art by Parson on this, with a little 30 for 30th anniversary. Yes, Tank Girl is 30 years old, debuting way back in 1988 in a British magazine called Deadline, I believe, and then coming to the US in the 90s via Dark Horse, and then that movie. When are we going to get the Tank Girl reboot movie? Look at that, I love that art. It's realistic, it's in Parsons' art style, but more realistic than the usual, still cartoony, and I'm enjoying what Tank Girl is up to. Then we've got Red Sonja number 20. I'm not reading this one regularly, but the cover just jumped out at me. I really liked it. It's like this powerful red cover, monochromatic, with a whole bunch of corpses all stabbed up, with Red Sonja just chilling out right there after her handiwork. And this has got this great cartoony style. This is the style that I wish I could draw, like realistic yet cartoony style, subtle colorization and such. And it's issue number 20 with Amy Chu, Eric Burnham, and Carlos Gomez. Very cool story. It's a good one to jump into right here if you want to get back into Red Sonja. The plot is easy to pick up at this issue. And then at the very, very end, you've got this great cliffhanger that you just got to check out. Let's just say it involves sharks. And lastly, to jump in on issue number 1 of a new series, I've got Vampirella and Deja Torres. So the classic Vampirella character, Queen of Draculon, whatever her subtitle is, and Deja Torres, Queen of Mars. So from the John Carter of Mars sort of mythology. This is from Dynamite. It's issue number 1, and this is the cosplay cover. I need to look up the cosplayer that is modeling the suit, but this is basically What If Vampirella and Deja Torres Met. It's issue number 1. It's a great starting point to get into. And cover E, the cosplay cover, is the one that really stood out to me, so it's the one I got. And shout out to the cosplayer for accurately recreating her costume quite well, what little there is of it. I got also Vampirella and Deja Torres number 1 cosplay variant, but the Deja Torres cosplay. So again, I have to look up the cosplayer, she's listed inside, but she managed to also very faithfully and accurately recreate what very little there is of this version of the costume of Deja Torres of Barsoom. And shout out to the cosplayer. Alright, let's recap what I got this month. Read Sonja number 20, cover 4. Tank Girl All-Stars, cover A. Unnatural, cover A. Beasts of Burden, cover B. Elvira, cover A. Batman Beyond 24, cover B. Batwoman 18, cover B. Rick and Morty number 2, cover A. Rick and Morty number 1, variant cover. Modern Fantasy regular cover number 3. Beyonders number 1. Sandman Universe number 1. Joker and Daffy number 1, cover B. Catwoman, Tweety and Sylvester number 1, cover B. Vampirella, Deja Torres number 1, cosplay cover. And Deja Torres, Vampirella, cosplay cover number 2. So there you go. See anything you like? Got any suggestions of what to check out next month? Leave a comment below. If you like this video or any of the other videos and content I create, don't forget to head on over to patreon.com/vmcampos. Think about contributing $1 or $2. It really keeps me funded, keeps me going. If you contribute at the $2 range, I will send you a comic book every single month, curated from my collection, straight to your mailbox every single month. What a deal! This has been VM Campos. See you on Barsoom.